here, Professor Bird, aka PC Bird. Do you subscribe to the Happy Pill on YouTube?
Of course I do.
Yeah, and when you see good videos, 'cause I know most of them are good, do you hit the like button?
100%.
And like, if you have friends who could use this information and all these details, do you help your friends who are no good at Jiu Jitsu by sharing these videos with them?
Absolutely not. Yes, I do.
Yo, be like Professor Bird, like, share, subscribe.
Woo!
People, I want to just, before I start, somebody asked me the other day about why the hell, what's the name of that happy pill? What's the deal with that? And I explained, I stopped the class, and I know some people left early, but I explained what that happy pill is that during the course of me being here for so many years, like I realized, like Renzo knows it also, is that BJJ somehow for many people is their happy pill that day. Like they have all kinds of anxiety and issues and emotional and depression, and COVID heightened that. And during COVID, I probably had like 50 people come to me because we were drilling and doing all these things, and about 50 people at least have come to me and go, dude, without BJJ during this time, I don't know what I would have done. And I've also, and during this process, I've encountered two young men that attempted multiple times to commit suicide. And then in the course, they found BJJ, young men, 14, 15 years old, found BJJ, and then somehow that life changed for them and gave them a purpose. And they tell me these stories, and I'm like, wow. And then in the course of it, their families have set them up where they can go to school, university, very close to a BJJ academy, where their whole life revolves around BJJ, but then they do everything else. And it's their happy pill. And then last week, there was a gentleman that overdosed on fentanyl. He's my student. If you've been to the open mat, many of you rolled with him. He overdosed on fentanyl. He had an accident during COVID where he lost some of his toes and started taking these painkillers, and there's a pandemic going around all throughout America with these opiates. And then he started taking these, and he couldn't do BJJ. And I asked my friend after what happened last week, I was shocked because you would not know this gentleman was doing any of that stuff. And he said to me, I said to him, did you suspect anything? He goes, yeah, I kind of did. Like, he was telling me he couldn't do BJJ, and because he couldn't do BJJ, you know, things spiraled out of control, the addiction and all this stuff, and he overdosed on fentanyl. During this time, in the last 5 years, three different young men have overdosed on fentanyl from this academy. He's the third one. Okay, I told you eventually, and all of them had one common denominator. It was like, man, I couldn't do BJJ, man. That was the one thing that kept me going emotionally. And so I tell that story. It's like, so that's what the happy pill about. Now I'm gonna attach what the happy pill about and why I teach a certain way. Not only for you guys, but I'm gonna keep teaching this way, that if you miss my classes, you can understand the storylines. So you're not just coming in and going, why is he doing this? Like, you can understand this bigger picture. So if you miss class, you can go in there, look at it, watch it, and go, all right, I know where this guy's going with this, what the storylines, how we can answer. You don't know what I'm gonna teach that day, but it'll all attach some way. So I'm gonna continue to teach in those patterns. And then if you can't make class, you can watch it. It's free. There's no charge, okay? There's nobody's trying to sell you a DVD, none of that stuff, okay? You can just go on, watch it. So that's the reason of why it's called the happy pill, because for many it is. And that's why I teach in a certain way, okay? Not just for you guys, but I'm gonna continue teaching it. So let's get started now. I taught the class of an Omoplata, counters and reversals. So I want to add more to this. And this is how we're going to start. We're going to start backwards first before we get in there. There's a third. I showed two different variations. Go, give me Omoplata first. You Omoplata me. So how we left off in the last class, he just called me in the Omoplata, and I told you why, because we were doing these arm drags, and I said, hey, shoot your knee here, fight to get vertical, and I told you good and bad to this, because when you explode up, you're going to explode, and now he's going to be on this leg, okay? So that's one, but you're going to understand. I told you how to counter, so if you watch the footage, I'm not going to recap it. I told you what to do and how to come out, and then I showed you a different one. I said, man, you're getting so pulled down, and now my leg's on here. How am I going to pick this leg up? If I don't pick this leg, this guy's going to throw me this way. So I told you, be careful, because if you backtrack the videos, a couple of videos, we attacked this leg in a toe hold, right? He's going to come on his toe, and I'm going to go, okay. And then we backstepped and we countered it. So we went into other sequences. But what I told you in the last class was you hide this leg and you run backwards to clear him on this side. And now I'm on a cross face releasing and it went south on him. But I also got to understand that sometimes I can't do that. Okay? So I got to incorporate another one. So I'm going to tell you the mechanics. I'm getting yanked down and I'm going, oh boy, he's starting to reface me. So if you remember the footages where I told you why you do certain angles on the omoplata and why he wants to face me, he wants to toe hold me, bring me down, break this shoulder, all these things. So I'm realizing, oh boy, I'm going face down and I'm going, I can't, and he's starting to reface me at this point. So I know my shoulder, my arm are in danger, my leg is in danger also. So I'm going to fight to protect my hands at this point and latch them together. As I roll, there's a couple of things mechanically that want to happen. I want this leg to be my pendulum leg for me to get to my knees. So let's not worry about this up here yet. As I start dropping this leg is the pendulum leg for me to rotate and come up. So as I'm dropping, I'm going here, I'm shooting this through, and this leg that I'm tapping is swinging to make this turn to come up and look at you this way. Okay. Secondly, I have to be super aware of this elbow because I don't want to land and be in an arm bar. So as you're making this rotation, go slow with it because I'm going to flip it so that Jimmy and Paul do it together and I'll talk to you about it mechanically. I'm holding this hand because as I turn through, I'm landing. As I come through, I don't want this hand dangling that if for some reason I land like this and I didn't have this arm here, I wanted to protect it anyway. Like I want to be able to battle later as I come up. So don't leave this hand undetached because if things don't work out and he flips his leg lines, my arm's dangling out in the wind like that with some type of grab that I can protect it as I come up to my knees, I have to. So make sure you grab onto your hand. So I just told you two things. That back leg is a pendulum leg. I'll give you some ideas on how to do it. This hand should shoot under. So you're not rolling on this shoulder. This is everybody. I mean, this is like, when I tell you 99% of the people will roll over this shoulder, and now I just ended up in this arm bar. Great. I just went from the fire to the other fire, right? So Master Renzo came up with this move. So I always give credit to where credit's due, man. Beautiful move. I'm like this, and I'm going down. And now how am I going to get up on this? I can't get that knee to that hip. And now he's starting to face me. And I'm going, oh boy, this is really going to go south. He's going to be so heavy on the shoulder. And I'm going, man, I can't run backwards at this point. There's no way. He's already caught my hip, and now there's no way. He's going to start pushing this leg out. Push this leg out with his hand. Push this leg. And now he just broke me down to my hip. And now, boy, this is really going to go south. I can't even get that arm back now. Okay? So I'm going 1 level, 2 level, 3 level. So I have a counter on where my positioning is because he just switched me to this. So I'm getting yanked down going, oh boy, he's starting to face me. So this is too late. So I start connecting my hands as I bring the other shoulder. I'm not rolling on this shoulder. As I'm landing this shoulder, I'm holding onto my hand. Remember my pendulum leg. Use it because I got to rotate to get to my kneecap. So as I'm falling, I'm going slow. As I'm falling, this leg that I'm lifting is kicking out as a pendulum to come up. As I'm coming up, I've locked this limb in place because I want to be able to yank this. So don't leave this dead. This position is clamped on. So if I've made my rotations from the bottom half, I don't have to think about this. So I don't want this to occur that you come up and you're lazy on this elbow. So let's talk about this elbow. Let's not even worry about the lower half. Let's just have one look at this. When I'm coming through here, as I'm coming through like this elbow's got to go. I got to pull it down because even when I come up, I have this grip up here. So if I come up, and he had the elbow some more, and let me up. So I'm coming up, and I'm like this. And now I got the elbow great, but now I'm in a great position to jam my knee lines in and take my elbow out and now go right back into the fight, right? So I want to protect my elbow lines. So you have a bunch of things. I will yell your name if you do anything mechanically wrong, okay? You go super slow. I ask you go millisecond at a time. Understand, you might go, okay, I'll get up there. No, you won't, dude. No, you won't. because you're not going to have the propulsion to make the rotations if this leg's not your swinging leg. Look where you are, dude. You're like face plant right now. You're in Death's Valley, man. Everything's going bad for you right now. He's facing me. Now you start to understand why I wanted to reface. Why I keep telling you, go the other way. You're on top. Why I told you that when you were here, let's go back to the arm drag that we were in. You're like this on this arm drag, and I kick this leg out and I go, okay, he's going too far. So I straighten him out and I'm like this. I don't cross my legs up. Why? I gotta face him, because if I'm sitting like this going, no way, dude, he's gonna back up into it. Oh boy, he just took my back, or he just came side control. Now when I tell you, don't cross your legs, take the leg out, slip it, then you're gonna have to see why you're so late on things. So mechanically, we're gonna go this one, right? Practice, go middle tier, top tier, so that we start going over why. So my head position is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So we're going backwards. So I'm going to ask you to start with the bottom one, because we got to rep that. That one's a hard one to get, because you got so many things happening at one time. You got to pull the elbow, you got to latch it, you got to shoot them, you got to pull up, and as you're making the rotation, you got to pull this elbow down. You got a lot of little integral things that you got to practice on. All right, let's partner up, do what you just did. On Monday, I'll explain this. So you got to come on Monday. Right, I'm like this, he rolls, and I hold in position. And now, stay right there. Go back to the arm bar for a second. Jimmy, let him have the arm. Okay. The reason I bring this up is that you're on video, you'll see somebody show this arm lock. It's not real. Okay. He's got to break this arm on this hip. Right? So I'm going to give it to him. Okay? As he's cranking, what is Jimmy going to do? He's going to come up to save that freaking arm. And you tell me how you're breaking his arm from this position? Like how? It's not happening. So if you understand the outcome of it, yeah, I know it's going to hurt like crazy. The capsule might pop. Competition, that man's not coming. He's coming for that arm, man, because you're on a crappy set right there. But now this time, Paulie, he does everything right. He comes up as he saw the roll and he grabs onto his wrist. And now do what you did before. Okay, he locks his femur up. And what Paulie was doing was driving him backwards that way. You don't drive him backwards at that point. But you got to show up on Monday, and I'll show you the rest of that, okay? You don't drive him backwards. It's totally wrong. You should not drive him backwards. On Monday, I'll show you the mechanics of what we're going to do from there to counter him again, because I got to be able to answer it, and I do not want to drive him back at all, because I'm going to drive him back. He's going to latch onto his hands down here, and he's going to be on his belly, and then you're going to be stuck with him in this weird position. I don't want to. We're not driving him back, okay? Let's start the scrimmaging from this point. Let me have you. So you're like this, okay? You get your hand down. He gets one hand on my back. And this is how we start, okay? You can do any one of the ones you want to do. You can shoulder roll, you can back step, you can do all these things. Any one you want. First guy to get out. First guy to get out. You should be able to get out. He should be able to finish. It's not, listen, he should be able to finish. You're in a great spot, dude. I'm in an awful spot. I got to recover. If I don't recover, I basically gave you the world right here. I gave you a lot, man. You're on my hip. It's not like you're like this. Like, I gave you everything. You're sitting next to me. You got your hand on my hip, and I'm like this, okay? How you decide to get out, you got to start learning to react and read and then answer those reads, okay? So I'm going to ask you to do both sides. You got a bad shoulder, just stay to one side. And we're going to do this by time, okay? So one player, you're on for 90 seconds on one side, one on the other side, and we'll do 4 rounds on it. So basically it's 6 minutes of you being on both sides, so that you're starting to go, you're going to start to see that in the beginning, you're going to have low levels of success, because you're just going to flutter around and you can't archive those things fast enough. And that's the idea of drilling. It's because you don't want to be, as Ethan famously said, he plays this little guitar. I don't know the name of it. It's like a Greek guitar. If you're Greek, you might know. It's like, it looks like a little banjo. And oh, there he goes. Okay, he plays that really well. And he made this great analogy. He's like, I said, man, you're really good at it. He goes, man, I practice so much that I could play this thing running out of a burning building. Yeah. That's BJJ. I can't think about this right now. I got to be able to react. So that's the idea of drilling. He loves that story. Right? He hasn't sung yet, so we're going to try to get him to sing next. Okay, so you know the position. Let's rock, guys. I'll explain right now. He's going to go into the move, and the one I just showed you. He's going to go into the move, okay? At this point, When he goes into the move, right, you were like this. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to go underneath on the roll. Once you feel him go under, you should have been latched up right away because you know the outcome already. It's not, like, let's say even, go roll for me and leave your arm extended. That is the shittiest arm bar in the world. Do you know who taps on that arm bar? Is somebody that doesn't know the game well, or he's got to go to work. And tell me how you're going to break and sever this arm. In competition, man, you know what? Capsules don't count, dude. Like, if you're not severing that arm, you pop that cap. Look at Jacare, got his arm popped, and he just kept fighting, okay? So you're holding this position at this point when he rolls because the scramble becomes, can he get up? But he's got to fight to. So the moment you feel him go under, you don't have an arm bar at this time anymore, dude. The arm bar's gone. Okay, you're going to tell me you're going to go to these crappy arm bars. My legs are not in, my hips are not in. I'm not severing the arm. I'm not getting my friend to tap because it's painful or he's worried about. In competition, you're not. So the moment, can we flip it because you did it before? So you're going to do this. Yeah. So the moment he goes into the roll, you know where he's going. So latch on, you went the wrong way. Go back again. Yeah. Right? Go all the way. Show it. Yeah. Okay, perfect. These things should have been clamped because at this point, you just want it out. George is going to come up because he's coming up also. So come up and hold. And now as he comes up, your first reaction is to hold the wrist because I'm going to attack the top arm. You're going to get this arm out, but your hands were like this. So you countered, I counter, right? So now as he comes up, he's already lacing with the top hand on top. So now he can release whatever was left on the bottom to finish the top because his hands were like this. So I lost something but went to something else. Can I have you? Right, come in here for a second. So when I come in here on this Omoplata, and I'm like this. So now it's like this, and I was here because if you remember the grip, this is where I was initially. So if you remember, I was like this. And now I transfer and I went to Omoplata. That's how you take this leg out. I'm like this and he's rolling on me. So I closed back again, right? I don't need this as I'm right here closed and now he's coming up and we're coming up together, okay? And I'm holding onto his elbow because I told you off those videos, at this point, I've lost. But I have a slight advantage because you got to get this guy out. So the reason I come up when you come up is because I got to get my body line above my hip line. Because as I come up, I don't know what you're going to do with this. 90% of the people will just bring this onto this side. They will never hold an arm. They'll never pull this down. And you're just going to come up. And now we're like this. Even if I didn't, like I told George to do this. I told you to come on top of your body and now grab onto this wrist and now start taking the top hand because I've lost the bottom hand. I let it float away. It is what it is now. So I've come to the top hand. But worst case scenario, the top hand, and he was playing so tight, and I was like this, and I go, okay, so I brought my body line on top of my hip line. I want to stay dominant player. I don't want to lose you. So now it's easy for me to release and now come up. Do I come to a mount? Do I go grab elbow? Do I take control of the top elbow and open it and now catch it on top? You can go anywhere you want with that, but I'm not going to lose you. Okay, so you countered me, I countered you. And that's the beauty. Like if you play the game, people that want to doze off and look other ways, pay attention, man. Come on, pay attention. You got to take this into, like I care so much about the class and its improvement, and now it's becoming like what it was in the past. Like it's a ton of sharks. Like I don't want sharks, I don't want like piranhas. Like I love the game. So the little things are the things that I told Cynthia before class. Those are the things you're going to get ever. But I'm doing it now. Now we're going back to the happy pill that you can understand the storyline. So if those little things is like, you can't put that on a DVD. You can't, like those little things, and it's free. So try your best because you might say to me, I don't really get there. You will get there because we're going to put every piece together that you understand it. That if you do it, it's because, hey, I didn't practice it enough, or you know what, he did it so fast, I didn't read it, I thought he was going to jump a different way, but that you know that when I go, what happened? You'll go, that this happened and this occurred, and that when you watch a match now, you'll go, I understand everything that's going on. everything. Okay, guys, let's part up and try that. Let's do it. If you forget, go on Happy Pill. Those videos were non-stop on how we get behind here, how we insert, how we recover, hip flips, everything. So you should be really kind of coordinated if you read long. If you haven't, if I see all messed up, I'll be yelling at you. You don't watch the Happy Pill. Okay, guys, so let's do it.